So for the last while now, I've been feeling that the technology space has become pretty stagnant when it comes to the way of innovation. You'll have companies these days that'll release a new phone, maybe a new tablet or computer, a bunch of accessories and call it a day. Slap the tag revolutionary on it and it's a game changer. Well, that was the case. Up until the other day, actually. How's it going, good people? My name's Pedro, and today we're gonna have a look at a bunch of new tech that Amazon has just announced and dropped for pretty much all consumers. There are a couple of core items that I did want to cover off today that I really think their concept and potentially their execution can lead to a whole variety of new home products, maybe even push the status quo for technology, both in our home and in our day-to-day lives, a little forward and get us another step closer to that very Disney Pixar WALL-E reality. So to start off the entire press conference, there was a massive push towards a concept called Ambient Intelligence, which, taking all the flashy buzzwords out of it, is basically bringing your virtual assistant and other supporting technologies up into the real world. So that means that basically when you need the technologies, they're right there ready for you to utilize. And let's say you don't necessarily need to have your voice assistant with you everywhere. All of the technology just basically fades into the background and basically acts like it's not even there. Now, the way Amazon is really looking to push this moving forward is by a bunch of devices, and one of the most innovative of devices that they did talk about in this press conference was a smart thermostat for under $100. Now, I know smart thermostats are nothing new in the space of home automation or smart home technologies, but where I really think Amazon has a leg up across a lot of the competition is in particular for this price point. Obviously, with the big home automation projects that have been going on in the world right now, where people are wanting to basically integrate everything in their house into a single platform, Amazon has really come in and helped bring this along with the introduction of their own smart thermostat. I think the smart thermostat from Amazon is a way forward for their own smart platform to help integrate more people in. Coming in at under $100, having this thermostat in your house is fairly cheap to buy. It helps get your foot in the door for the whole Amazon experience, your smart home integration. And on top of that as well, for most modern thermostats itself, it should just be a plug and play situation. No need for an electrician, no need for any complex wiring. It should pretty much be seamless. So one of the next products that Amazon also talked about in their press conference was a little conference device, not necessarily for business people working from home. It was more targeted at little children wanting to be able to interact with parents and loved ones, potentially across the world or even long distances. Amazon has really come at this from the point of view of a little child wanting to interact and play with a screen that isn't necessarily just your little smartphone that you'd be holding in a situation like this. So they've brought out a device called the Amazon Glow, which is basically a mini projector which has a conference call functionality built in. This in itself is a pretty interesting technology. Sure, it's designed and marketed for little children right now, but I'm really interested in the actual technology behind it and the ability to actually project vertically on various surfaces and be able to have that interactability between the human and potentially any surface in their device. Think about if you were doing something like cooking in your house. You potentially could reflect your entire cooking recipe or the video you're watching out onto your countertop itself, and you wouldn't necessarily have to worry about water falling on the screen. Another thing that potentially could be implemented from that is a portable way to play board games and different tabletop games, either with people in person or remotely through online services itself. I think it potentially has a real use case in interactability between people and extend it out beyond just the children's play toy that they're trying to sell it as right now. Now, finally, the last major item that the people at Amazon did show off in this press conference is probably the item that got the most sort of news and public media attention. It's probably the one that everyone's heard of already. The announcement of Astro, basically a robot assistant that has the potential of following you around your house, being able to interact and play music and use as a regular device to basically have Alexa anywhere you are in your own home. I don't think for $1,000 buying a robot is personally viable, but there are plenty of people out there that for $1,000 US that being able to have this first generation product is a must for them. And I think for those people, I'm sure they'll be pretty happy with having their own little robo-boy running around their house. I guess the final question that a lot of people would have coming out of this is, why really would you need to invest in basically anything that Amazon talked about today? I'm sure that turning on and off your heater manually isn't that bad, right? But I think the whole concept of smart home technologies and automation in your house and being able to have all of this control is that ultimately the sum of all of the objects that you end up installing into your house and integrating together ends up becoming a little more than each of the individual parts. Sure, installing a speaker in your house can be great to have music in, but if that speaker has a smart assistant and then you have a door lock on your house that you can open and close with the sound of your voice, sure, there's a novelty factor in that to begin with, but it soon becomes almost a seamless experience between asking Google to unlock and lock your door through to being able to lock and unlock your door both manually or from your phone, through to down the track, getting things like robot vacuum cleaners and other smart lights to be able to just interact with these objects in a more streamlined and seamless manner, which ultimately does come back to that central concept of ambient intelligence that Amazon talked about at the very start of their presentation. I personally am already seeing that in the few products I have in my house already, but I guess that is the way forward and a big push from a lot of major companies right now. But that's been it from me. Let me know down in the comments, what do you think about all of this home automation and smart home technologies? Do you think it's going to be around here for the long run, or do you think it's just a bunch of buzzwords that people are using right now? I'd love to hear from you, but either way guys, my name's been Pedro and I hope you'll have a good one.